We have an amazing episode for you today, but first I want to tell you about Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Whether it's recording new podcast episodes, uploading existing episodes, editing, or more, Anchor gives you everything you need in one place to create your podcast from your computer or your phone and make it sound amazing. And the best part, it's free. Yes, Anchor is completely free. Anchor makes it easy to make money with a podcast without a minimum listenership, and will even distribute your podcast so it can be heard anywhere from Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and more. The podcast process has been so easy because of Anchor, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience right off the bat. I'm recommending Anchor to all of my listeners who are wanting to start a podcast. Be sure to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started building your own podcast today. My name is Kristen Kubik, and you're listening to As Told Unfiltered, the podcast that dives deep into what it's really like running a business. The raw, the real, and the completely unfiltered. Hello, beautiful people. Oh my God. I'm so excited to be back for season 3 of the As Told Unfiltered podcast. I have missed you guys so much. So I took 6 weeks off, and I wish I could say it was a restful 6 weeks because it was not at all whatsoever. And, I ended up going through a lot more personal stuff than I even remotely anticipated. And I actually also ended up doing a lot of back end work. And because, we're business owners, right? This is what we do. We say we're going to rest. We say we're going to, do nothing and sit on our butts and take a break. And what do? The complete opposite. So January was a lot of healing. It was a lot of messiness, and it was a little bit of work. If you're new to the podcast, hello, welcome. I am so excited to have you. If, you're a returning listener, welcome back. I'm so excited you're back. My name is Kristen Kubik. I am a business growth mentor. I'm also the host of the As Told Unfiltered podcast, and I help women entrepreneurs, mainly women. I have also helped a few men to bring back them in their business. The fun, the structure, more of them in their business. And a lot of, my clients, they just have a lot of trouble getting to the root of themselves so that they can function in their business without feeling burnt out, without feeling like they are, pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone too far, too quickly. Or, they're trying to do all of these things and just feeling so overwhelmed that they hate their business. They resent their business. And I do all of this stuff because I've been there. I have been there in the business setting. I've been there in the personal setting. I've been there, working in businesses, working with businesses. I've done so much of it, it's not even funny. So that's me. Welcome. Today, we are starting off season 3, and I am so excited because we are actually going to talk about a little bit more of the energy side of business. And it's something that I kind of held back in season 2. And I didn't talk about it all in season 1, but we're really going to start diving into it a lot in season 3. And what we're going to start off with today is manifestation, but we're going to talk about how manifestation also needs actionable steps. Because a lot of the time when people talk about manifestation, we can get this idea in our heads of, I can just think of a thought and then sit on my butt and not have to do anything. Or, I can write it down on a piece of paper 5 times for 5 days and then I'm good. But that's not the case. A lot of what we have to do is, I love manifestation so much. And let me back up for a second, because if you don't know what manifestation is, or you're not really, familiar with the concept, manifestation is bringing things into your life via your thoughts, which is why a lot of people think that if they just think about some things, then they'll appear, like a magic trick. And that's not the case. We still have to take actionable steps in order to create that reality, to bring it into the 3D. And that's a lot of what people are missing. And so much of what I've been, doing the past few months, the past couple of years, is learning about how it actually works for me, because it doesn't necessarily work the same for everybody. You can say, clear your mind and get in tune with your thoughts, and then something, will happen. But that's not necessarily the case for every single person. It might be a roundabout way, but that's not necessarily the same. So I want to talk about, a little bit of my experience with manifestation, how I've kind of used it in my business, in my personal life, and then, how you can use it. So let's just dive in. I, last year, in January 2020, said that I was going to have a new car by the end of 2020. My poor Jeep, it was falling apart, and it had almost 100,000 miles. I mean, it was such a good vehicle that it's not even funny. I loved that vehicle. It was fantastic. And you can tell by the word "was" that I no longer have it, right? So I kept telling myself, I'm going to have a new vehicle. I'm going to have a new vehicle. And so I started clearing out a lot of what didn't serve me, what didn't resonate with me anymore, what didn't have necessarily a place at this moment in my life. And I started healing. And the more you heal, the more open, your mind is going to get, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to be open to doing so many other things. That being said, 2020 was a really hard year for so many people, including myself. My mom died. Just recently, my aunt died. My dog died. I mean, it's been a whirlwind. So my manifestation that I started out with was that I just wanted a new car. I didn't really care what it was. I knew I wanted it to be something I could afford. So I just looked at, like a Honda CR-V. And I was like, it's a little smaller than my Jeep, but, I could afford it. I could afford payments on it. And, I could do it. I could make it happen. I could do it. And whenever it came around November, I got asked by, my husband, my family, hey, so your birthday is coming up. What if we look at you new vehicles? And I'm like, holy crap, I've already been looking at them. What do you know? So I pull up what I've been looking at, and I'm so excited, right? And I'm like, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I can afford. This is what we're doing. And my husband said no. And I went, what? And he said, this is not it. And I just went, wait a second, what? I was in total disbelief. And the universe was just kind of giving me a sign to go bigger. So I said, okay, so where are we going? And an ad popped up on Facebook for a Range Rover. And I was like, no way, come on. And this is what I bought. We paid for a Range Rover Sport, a 2021, and it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. And it is my baby, and they paid for it in cash. And I about cried. And I, contributed what I did, and I was just so ecstatic. Because once you bring those, manifestations to your thoughts, and then you make a point to start those actionable steps of looking at what you want, figuring out a game plan, figuring out what you can do to make it happen, the universe is going to reward you. And it's going to make you unstoppable, which is the coolest thing ever, in my opinion. Because this is how you use manifestation. And this is something a lot of people don't talk about. When you use, manifestation to the actionable steps to get, the things that you're looking for, the universe is going to come in and reward you with something so much bigger than what you were anticipating. Because everything and everyone is seeing you work, seeing you put in everything in order to get what you want, that they're legitimately just looking at you and saying, hey, she deserves better. So let's do it. Let's give it to her. Another really cool example is I wrote down, and I have a manifestation journal. It's legitimately just a journal where I just write what I'm calling in. And I'll do this whenever I'm actually just feeling the vibe, or it's a full moon or a new moon. And I do a lot with the moon cycles. So I'll do a full moon or a new moon. Technically, you should always manifest on a new moon, but I also like to release and manifest on a full moon. So one full moon, I wrote down that I was calling in a brand new 3-month client. And I didn't specify anything else. I just said I want a brand new 3-month client. And the next day, I got a message asking me about my 3-month program. And I was just like, holy cow, this is crazy. And so I sent her the info and she paid in full. And I was like, this is bonkers. But whenever you bring in those manifestations, whenever you are, doing the work, you're saying that you want, the 3-month client, and then you make a post about, the 3-month program you have, and then someone DMs you about it, that's the manifestations, to the actionable steps, to the, reward. And that's what's going to make you unstoppable with, yourself, the universe, your business, everything. And it's the coolest thing ever. And then last example that I will, talk about was recently, my golden retriever died. And it was, the saddest thing ever, because there's just like this huge void in my heart. And I don't have kids, so she was legitimately my baby. And I, wrote in my manifestation journal that, I'm calling in a new or another. I never say a new, I never say a replacement, I never say anything like that. Whenever I'm talking about my golden, I say another golden retriever. So I wrote, I'm calling in another golden retriever. The next day, one of the breeders I've been talking about and following for a really long time posted that one of their females was pregnant and that they're going to start taking applications. And if that wasn't the biggest sign, I don't know what is. And so logically, the next actionable step is to, put in that application and to be ready for, or at least tell the universe you're ready for that reward. Even if it doesn't happen, you're telling the universe that you are ready for it and that you're ready to actually call it in. Because whenever you do the actionable steps, you're showing that you're here, you're serious, and that you're ready. And the things that a lot of people don't talk about, or they get mistaken about, is that we don't have to do those things and we don't have to actually be ready, or we don't have to actually, show that we're ready. And that's definitely something that, needs to be addressed, in my opinion, because we do. We absolutely need to show we're ready. We absolutely need to acknowledge it. They're not going to give us anything that we're not ready for, that we can't handle. But here's the thing about manifestation. You can't do it if you can't truly manifest something if you're in a constant state of anger, a constant state of anxiety, a constant state of depression, or, a constant state of, I don't know, whatever emotion other than peace or happiness or fun, or, you have to be in a good place in general. And we all manifest from different places, but you have to be in a decent, good place to manifest. I don't want to say that you can't have anxiety and manifest because, I have diagnosed PTSD and I manifest really, really well. I manifest really, really fast. I can, manifest something usually in 24 to 48 hours, depending on what it is. And it's something that you have to learn to do, and it's one of those things you have to be really in tune with your body, in tune with your emotions. But you also have to learn to detach from the outcome. And that's honestly one of the most difficult parts, is releasing the grip on what we want. I would kill to have a new dog right now. Or another dog. I would kill to have another dog right now. But I'm, not going to actually have the anxiety or have, a super, super controlling issue on what or when it happens. I would sell a kidney if that's what it took at the moment, but I'm not going to have that constant state of anxiety or that actual need for control over when it happens. When it happens, it will happen. And that's a lot of where you have to actually utilize your trust with yourself, but also with, everything around you. And you have to actually trust your intuition. And that's another thing that, I really want to dive into a lot this season is your intuition, because it's something I've really connected with the past year. And when we, really believe that what is meant to come to us we're able to utilize that trust. We're able to utilize that intuition, and we're able to actually believe that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to rather than the way we want it to. And then we're able to get past that anxiety and past the control issues and past the fears. And I, started a couple of kind of rituals almost every day. I will say almost every day, because I'm still human and sometimes I like to sleep in. I started making sure that I am grateful every day when I wake up for something, whether it's just, my dog laying on my bed, or one of the cats laying on the bed, or the ability to work out, or, how much I deadlift, or, my bench press that day. Whatever it is, I will find something small. My husband did the dishes or something like that. I will also make sure to do something energetically with my body a couple of times a week. Working out, meditating. I think a great idea is doing like a power hour. And you don't even have to do it daily. You could do it every couple of days, once a week, something like that. But check in with yourself. Check in with yourself, check in with your goals, check in with your business, anything like that. And what I'll do is I'll light a candle because I love candles. Oh my gosh. I will write my, a to-do list, or I'll write like a goals list, or a, what do I have on my desk right now? I have a what I should have done 2 weeks ago list, or, something like that. And then I will create steps that, actionable steps, a routine or something to get those things done. And I'll do like maybe 30 minutes of working on something, and then I'll stop. And then I'll do like maybe 10 minutes of saging. I try to sage my office once a week at least, because my office is like my sacred space. And by doing these things, you're keeping yourself accountable, but you're also keeping your energy clear. And those things help you manifest better. But then the other thing you want to do is to keep track of your thoughts. And I talked about this in the 12 Days of Podmas, was kneecapping, which is where you constantly have thoughts where you knock yourself down. And that was one of the biggest turning points for me, was actually creating those thoughts and those thoughts into better thoughts. And then actually, pivoting my mindset. And then through that, I was actually able to start pivoting other people's mindset, which is crazy to me. And I'll get, messages all the time now, and I love your energy. It's so great. Oh my gosh, how, your energy matches your hair. Because in case you haven't seen me, I have hot pink hair. And that's just crazy to me. I love it. It's so much fun. So doing simple things, you're going to start really feeling a difference, but then other people are going to start noticing a difference. And that's the thing. You're going to become unstoppable. When you combine the manifestation plus the actionable steps, you will become unstoppable. So let me know on Instagram, in my DMs, or tag me at Kristen Unfiltered. What are you manifesting? What actionable steps are you taking to get there? And let me know if you feel unstoppable. Thank you so much for listening. I am so excited to start the season off with a bang, really. I cannot wait for this, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I just wanted to let you know that all of the listeners for As Told Unfiltered get a special offer, especially if you listen to the end, because you're amazing. $100 off my signature digital course, Automation Queen to Sales Machine, that's going to help you streamline and automate your business so that you can spend less time making more sales. Use code Unfiltered. Go to kristencubic.com/astoldunfiltered for more information. See ya!